Well, I've killed him, so I should probably get it.
Well, it was lovely having you. It was a terrific time being here, let me just tell you.
It was good, and we're done. No. What's up, everyone? Welcome to... It's fine. Everything's fine. Kitsunekon 2024. We're here with Scott, who's... I mean, we could list off everything, but can you do it in alphabetical order? Or actually, let's do reverse alphabetical order. Yeah. Nailed it. Look at that. You got it. I believe in you. You gotta go louder. Yeah, you gotta go right in there. You gotta go real. Yeah, you gotta get kind of in there and. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, can you? Nah. I got point.
Yeah, I think it's
a little.
I think it's picking you up.
The hell just happened?
I don't like to talk about my powers.
Oh yeah, I've heard about your powers, pal.
It's a sore subject.
I've heard. This evil wizard, leave this place. Leave while you can.
Run away and run fast. So how's the con been for you so far?
Spectacular.
Awesome.
It honestly has. I haven't done cons much in the last, half a decade or so. Whereas our panel that we just did was called Back in the Day.
Back in the...
We didn't have no fancy microphones. You held up the tape and you yelled at it. That's right, tape. Pretty spectacular. People here are amazing.
Awesome.
So this is the second con I've done in the last half decade, and it's like,
Dang.
oh, I love these things. I forget the smells, the sights.
Well, there's some...
Mostly the smells.
Yeah.
You'll never forget, man.
Cheese.
You'll never forget. Late at night, you can still smell the smells.
Get those cheese curd nightmares now.
1,000-mile stare. I can smell them from here. Dear God.
The old days.
The word soap.
They'll never let you forget.
Axe body spray. Stuck in the elevator for 4 hours. Axe body spray. Hi, we're back.
Yeah. Back.
Ish.
You know, I mean, we're around, I guess, but it makes sense. I gotta say, because I've interacted with you a couple times throughout the weekend. Well,
there was that one crazy night in Tunisia.
Shut up. It's fine. No, nothing happened.
You didn't say there was going to be cameras.
Well, I didn't think you were going to say that part.
Right. This is why this is never going to work. I'm just saying.
It's fine. We'll figure it out.
We're not going to open that floor shop. I'm sorry.
I understand.
This is like the drone camera.
Yeah. But the
drone noises in the background.
The
drone cameraman is smirking. He knows things.
They always know things.
Horrible things.
But I was gonna say, how do you remember so many of your lines? From,
I don't.
The amount of work, or the voices, or
the voices were there when I was born. So I've said many times, if I didn't spend my days in a small padded room screaming for a living, I'd be spending my days in a small padded room screaming. The voices never end.
Always the voices.
They wake me up when I awake. They're there when I try to go to sleep. They never end. All of them. Luckily, I have found a profession that has taken a horrifying and debilitating mental illness and turned it to a fun and profitable career. As far as lines...
So the silver lining of that?
There's money.
There's money.
Money. I don't do it for nothing else, but they just pay us big buckets of gold and shit. I don't mind the money. I mean, the taxes are brutal and stuff, but it keeps me in my special hobbies of raising gators in Canada. Snow gators.
Well, we talked about that southern food.
That's right. Well, I got the snow gators back in Canada.
Yeah, that's snow gators.
Yeah, snow gator. I've been doing a little dabbling.
Dangerous snow gators. You gotta be careful.
Dr. Moreau shit. You
gotta be careful with that stuff. Do you have
Dear God, man, rein this interview in. You're losing control.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
Do you have throughout obviously you've done a lot of stuff. I mean from Transformers. Literally the list is insane. The amount of work that you've done,
it's
Monster
crazy.
Hunter, and is there a favorite voice of yours that you just when you think back to being able to record those lines that you're oh man, yeah, that was a good one.
As far as shows go, I know this is generally more of an animated, directed thing, but I am extraordinarily proud of because the writing and the cast and everybody on Beast Wars was astonishing.
Oh,
and I got to play 4 of the main characters, which is never a bad thing. If you spend as much time arguing with yourself as I do in your own head, there's no reason why you shouldn't be given some recompense. Yeah, well, you'd like that, wouldn't you, there? Lizard lips. I know. Shut up, Red Trap. We're all gonna die. No, wise Benito never get recognition he deserves. Wise Benito drag himself up to see our chamber. Wise Benito no care. And of course, Silverbolt, strong, proud, brave, and smart like a bag of hammers. The one that was the most fun for me, that nobody knows, there was a sequel to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay.
Called Rudolph and the Island of Misfit Toys. And I got to do things like, well, not if you don't mind my being a dentist. And didn't I ever tell you about Bumbles? Bumbles bounce!
Yeah.
And Coach Comet. Yeah. So those were shows I grew up on, so getting to step into those roles was like,
yeah.
I figured out that dentist was a metaphor. Hermes' journey was darker and weirder than we could possibly imagine.
What's those tragic
independent. The role that everybody wanted, though, that every voice actor I knew who were reading for that was, well, nobody wants a Charlie in the box. It's a great character.
It is a good character.
Paul Sands was the voice of Hermie, and he was also the voice of the old Spider-Man in the original, like, really crappy animation Canadian Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I also didn't know that was a Canadian show until I watched it as an adult, and it was like,
wait a minute.
did he just say out? Wait a minute.
When Spider-Man tells you to get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I gotta say the Beast Wars stuff. I'll die happy when we're off camera from that. But one I'm curious about is which I always feel is a very underrated anime is Monster Rancher.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel like it was ahead of its time for what it was as a show, but
groundbreaking, really. I mean, it broke the molds, didn't it? And they were doing things that were really. I mean, it was a dark time, of course. There was a lot of drugs back in those days, and we don't remember a lot. I do remember something about there was an eyeball that bounced along on his optic nerve, which would have hurt like hell.
it would have.
And eyeballs don't talk very well. I think that was the voice. I don't remember. Sways out. Yep.
You've done a lot. I mean, you've done a lot of voices. I mean, I'm sure they're all, like you said, they're all rattling around in different spots, in there. But we had talked to Mark yesterday because obviously you guys recorded separately, but you guys worked together and you both recorded Gundam Wing together.
Yeah.
Obviously you played Gundam Best Safe and everything like that, and he played. But we talked to him. I'll ask you kind of the same question. Gundam Wing had been like kind of an established franchise a little bit at the time, so you guys kind of had a little bit of idea of what you were going.
Very little, actually, because we didn't have, at least I didn't have a lot of back knowledge of a lot of the stuff that was going on with anime.
Right.
You know, for us, from a work point of view, it was like, oh, okay, there's this series, and then, you auditioned. It was like, oh, okay, you booked this character. I'm like, cool. So then you go into a little darkened box, and you're acting with somebody else's lips, and I have no idea what the hell's going on in the story because we don't get the complete script. And then I went to a convention not long after Gundam started really becoming a thing, and I went like, oh my.
Oh, right, this is a thing.
This is a thing.
Yeah.
And apparently Hero and Duo were a bit of a thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a thing.
A little bit. Oy.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of artwork.
Well, if it's...
I have seen things. If you could see what these eyes have seen.
Probably don't want to.
But yeah, so we didn't really get the I do a lot of prelude work as well, which is the stuff that we record as an entire cast and then they animate too.
Right.
Which is a lot more, you get to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Something like Gundam, honestly, was just like, I don't know, I just go into this dark room and I talk and... Now I will make you this promise. I will be the god of death once more. But right now, I need a sheep. Scott, it's not a goddamn sheep. Oh, sorry. Then we had the network version. I will be the great god of things that need of lunch. It was like, oh God, this stuff. And then it turned into a show that became a thing. That became another thing.
And another, yeah, and lots of other things. And
like Dragon Ball Z, I worked on for 10 years. I had no idea.
Yeah.
10 years!
10 years.
It was like, okay, when are we coming back for the next session? It was like, you don't, Scott, that's it, we're done. Like, what, a decade's worth of work? It's like...
And then just
yeah, we're done, man. Is there punch and pie? No.
No, you're just done.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. As I say, so obviously, Transformers, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam. I mean, it's like iconic franchises.
I'm in the
like,
Transformers Hall of Fame. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
You didn't know? Twice. Interesting.
Waspinator and Dinobot, I think, were both indoctrinated.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense. With
Waspinator happy at last.
after so much time. Do you ever like look back and kind of pinch yourself a little bit and being like, I mean, like
I just do that anyway.
that's fair.
It's a thing. It's like Tourette's. Don't judge.
Yeah, don't judge. But I'm just curious, like, do you when you said you were out of conventions for quite a while,
yeah,
because this is the second one, like you said, in like half a decade or something like that.
Yeah, about that.
So like, kind of, we asked Mark kind of similar because you get taken some time away. So you kind of take some time away from the franchises as they continue to just kind of like stand that test of time. Then you come back. Like, were you like surprised at just like the outpouring of like did this and this
it
and
is.
this and
I honestly, because I mean, occasionally on the internet I'll see things like, "Is Scott McNeil still alive?" I hear he's dead. Yeah, no, he totally died in a bus crash, whatever. Like, he's not even like relevant anymore. And then I step off and I go, well, nobody's gonna know me, but what the heck? I'm going to Wisconsin. I get to have a good time, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God,
you're here.
It's like it never changes. It never went away. It's all coming back to me now, Marty. And it's the same fun that it always has been.
Right.
And it's still it's so rewarding. Like, I've had so many people come up and and share something. Just like, oh my God, I love that show. It's so great, which is awesome. And then people that have really shared some really kind of moving, life-changing stories that come back to the work we did on Gundam or any other show that kind of helped people. And that it's both kind of enervating and very humbling and very like, it's very grounding. It's like, wow,
right.
This isn't just about like screaming happy people.
Right.
This is like, maybe some of these, because from my point of view, it's like, I go into a box someplace and I make silly noises and I do cartoons and you think, I'm not really helping the world that much. And then sometimes you get that little feedback of like, hey, something that you did or a project that you were involved in, it really has had an effect. And you're like,
yeah.
I have worth. Somewhat.
People do love me.
They like me. They really like me. It's not about that, though. It really is. It's just about that, because it's very easy, especially for somebody that's, this specifically mostly does cartoons like me. I think, I'm not really doing anything I'm not tearing cakes. I'm not doing so many things. And then people will give you this feedback. They go, the things that you do, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, me, you, anybody. It's like, everything you do in life can have an effect on somebody in weird ways.
Yeah.
It's the butterfly effect.
Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You said one good thing to a person or acted in a good way or a bad way, whatever, but, that can have repercussions and benefits decades down the road. And having done conventions for decades and done cartoons for many decades, sometimes, I'll be like, hey, that thing you did back in, like, 1989, that did this in my life. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. Or, wow, really? There, that was like my philosophical part of the interview.
I like it. I appreciate it.
This is pretty good. Could I get 4 more of these, please?
Yeah. We got you.
Well, just somebody gave me a thing of white powder and said, put that in water and try it. An electro lead or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it'll like something. It'll work. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. Oh, no, it's
I can hear the color orange. It tastes
different.
Like green. No, it tastes like 7. Yeah, okay, I'm feeling better now.
Oh, sweet. So obviously, because you've done work over many, many decades, has there been like distinct differences that you've seen in just like the recording process from when you were like first starting doing like Piccolo and recording to stuff that you've done?
The panel we did this morning, technically when I started doing this, we recorded on 1/4-inch tape, and we literally did an editing then consisted of, the adage you get from like directors, all the great directors I've worked with, and be like, okay, just, make sure you're leaving room to get a razor blade in there, which physically, literally, oh my God, it literally meant they would edit by taking a razor blade and cutting the tape and then splicing it. So you had to be good, otherwise their editors would kill you. You can't just say, we're going to take a word from here and a sign from here and a word from that. It's like, get this right, because we don't want to do no editing. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Because editors were sniffing a lot of cellulose back in those days. I'm not responsible.
Is this screwing up the sound at all?
Nah. It adds to it. It's that ambiance, you know.
Could
It's
I
like
get a bag of
white-
chips or something
the
too?
white-
That'd be
white
great.
background noise, you know.
Yeah.
Certain kind of chip.
It's a static. Yeah, something in a crinkly bag.
Crinkly
Don't ever
bag.
sit next to me in
We'll
a
make it
movie
work.
theater. Okay,
Crinkly
leaving
bag.
that alone.
But yeah, and then obviously everything is digitized and stuff now, which it makes it easier. I mean, like,
Nothing that we do is tangible anymore. It has no physical existence or mass. You cannot weigh it. You cannot put it on a scale. It does not technically exist. Everything, you know, from the most epic CG, films like Avatar and everything, I'm going, it's all recorded digitally. It's all animated digitally.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
ones and zeros. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't exist.
No, yeah, it's everything goes out there and
It cannot be destroyed, for it has no corporeal existence. It is our essence. We have been absorbed and assimilated into the Borg. Culturally.
Why? Through anime, that's why. When I started, it was drawn with drawings on paper. I
Paper?
have some.
Really?
Oh, I got tons of cells.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
crazy.
can imagine. Yeah.
A few of them are me. Most of them are Pinky and the Brain Cells, because it's my favorite show.
I mean, it's a good one though.
Are part of our plan to take over the world. Good Canadian kid, Maurice LaMarche. One of the best in the business, just saying. And a super nice guy.
Very good.
Little shout out there. Sorry, Canadian thing. A little shout out. Shout out. I can't do it. My Canadian accent is terrible.
I mean, how long's it been?
Since I moved there from Australia.
Yeah.
And I've been speaking with an American accent. Long time.
Remember that back in the day shit?
Back in the
Yeah.
that old back in the day.
The tape we used was made of rocks. When you had to
Chisel
bring your
lines in
own.
there.
Yeah, the poor recorder would be like, all right,
I missed that. Can you get that line again? Flintstone style.
Yeah. So you obviously you've done the convention. Like, are there things that you like really enjoy? Like when people bring you.
Yeah,
like,
mostly the food.
the food. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or, human body parts.
Well, yeah.
Which sometimes is the food. Scott, we talked about this. Remember what Dr. Fleischman said? Our little inner editor? Okay.
Inside voices.
People have given me amazing stuff. I have like rooms full of stuff in my house. That's,
You're right.
People, and I have a very normal life back home. Like
Yeah.
people go like, "What the hell is all this stuff?" It's like it's stuff.
It's stuff.
most of it is little plastic me's. Weird, huh?
But people have brought me very personal and very amazing things.
Yeah.
Which I have and I cherish. It's
Because, when I got into this business,
it wasn't any concept of like interaction with the audience or getting any kind of feedback as to
Right.
you just did cartoons.
You're right.
But now with the conventions, people are like, this meant, and here I made you this out of my own shin bones and skin.
oh, sorry, that's the stalkers. That's
They
a little different.
there's the levels.
Yeah, and you can't fly with that stuff.
Nah, man, probably a little more difficult.
Anything to declare?
Kind of.
It might be some fingers.
one or two, I guess.
Probably not mine.
Yeah, well, you'd hope.
It was a gift.
I swear it was. I gotta imagine too, like when you get together with like people that you've done work with on different animes, and you get to like go to panels with them and stuff like that. Like, because I imagine sometimes you go like long periods of time without seeing them. And
Well, yeah, I mean, anime is always a bit isolated. It's a bit of a recluse's sport because you're literally in a box with director and people on the other side of the glass, and you are acting with somebody else's lips or by
Right.
yourself. The pre work that I've done traditionally, the whole cast, and it's very much a social life, and
If you think one voice actor's strange by himself, you get a room full of them, they get
You
crazy.
get some
But
stuff.
post-COVID and whatnot, I mean, most works that I'm doing on prelay shows now, I'm generally recording from my own studio at home,
Right, yeah.
and sending in. So yeah, when I get to do cons, it's like, oh my god,
You're real.
you're my best friend, and I haven't seen you in
You're a
like
real
3 years, and
person.
you live 6 feet away from me, but we don't get to work together anymore. And it's old home week, and doing cons after not having done them for a long time, it's a lot of the same people on the circuit.
Right.
They just and it's kind of like you've never gone away. You just come back and like, hey, McNeil, like, what's up, man? What are you doing? It's like, what?
Stuff.
I haven't seen you in like 15 years. Because it's like a traveling circus. It's like carnies.
Right, yeah, the one thing after
Yeah.
another and just constant stuff. Obviously, I know like upcoming projects can never really be talked about.
Right.
But are there like key places that people should look towards? So if you have stuff that's coming out that gets announced, they'd be able to like find
There's
it
not a
more
ton. I mean, I'm
easily?
doing more on camera, more film and television these days, just because the cartoon industry has done a bit of a paradigm shift as far as how they're hiring and how shows are being done. So I don't do a ton. Done a lot more live action stuff. You know, other than that, I'm doing a lot more video games these days and a lot of radio commercials, and nobody ever comes up and goes, "Oh my God, I totally loved you in that like Coffee Mate spot." Like where you said the one word at the end. That was amazing.
I'll remember it
It was
forever.
amazing. Sorry, I tear up a little bit every time I think about it. From Nestle. The way you said from Nestle.
It just hits. The word hits different.
But it's a business.
Right.
You know, as I had an ex-girlfriend refer to it as, I'm a polyphonic prostitute. I will make sounds for money.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever heard it phrased that way.
It's,
but,
I mean, I played a lot of characters that didn't speak. They
Right,
just
yeah.
vocalized, just made
Right.
weird noises.
Yeah.
And it's like, for this, I went to theater school. You know, it's like, okay. I did study,
yeah.
you know, my Shakespeare, my Ibsen, my Molière. And they said, you young man, you've got a great face for radio. You have a future. You're speaking.
Nobody wants to hear little words, do they? That's what they told me in theater school. Nobody wants to hear little voices, they said. Well, we got the last laugh.
Jokes on them. Jokes on them. And then we'll wrap up. But any final message for people of the con, fans of yours, anything you'd want to
Oh
pass on?
boy. To sum it all up in one thing, you people are amazing. You fuel this industry. You need to know that, and you need to love yourself for it, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we do. You know, words of wisdom from a cartoon voiceover guy. Don't put salt in your eye.
I like
Do
it.
put salt in your eye. Don't put salt. Don't put salt. Do put salt in your eye. Don't put
Don't-
salt
okay.
in your eye. And be nice to each other.
There you go.
And soap is not a bad word.
Soap is not a
Soap
bad
is
word.
not a bad word. It's a funny word if you say
It
it
is.
more than 3 times.
It is.
Not as bad as who. Write the word who 3 times, and by the time you look at the third one, you'll be like, what is that? Makes no sense. English is
It's a good way to
fun.
do it. But no, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us for a little bit today. We'll wrap up, but I know you got to get some stuff that you got to do, so we'll jump off. But I appreciate the time that you took to talk.
Yeah, the
today.
pleasure was mine.
Always.
Okay, so that was a warm-up, right? Are we ready to go?
Yeah.